Sam Hunt. Songs like Take Your Time, Body Like a Back Road, and Hard to Forget. The first thing we need to talk about is Webb Pierce, that opens up this song with a cut of the original tune of There Stands the Glass, turned into snapbeat riddle country music, as they call it. Webb Pierce, if you don't know, was a classic country superstar. Early country music days when country had guts and was actually called country, and had a long string of hits such as There Stands the Glass, Backstreet Affair, I'll Go On Alone, etc., etc. But I'm glad that some of you, through this song, has found interest in classic country music from listening to this cut. I'm not downing what Sam Hunt does. You know, it took him a long time to release this album, Southside.
Before the show, he explained why it's taking a while to get a follow-up to his debut album.
It's been 4 years since Montevallo came out. What is the status?
Yeah, I've been experimenting a lot. Montevallo was a product of a few years of. If you heard all the music that I worked on before Montevallo, it was so all over the place.
Yeah.
And then I sort of found this thing with that record. It's just this little recipe, and I don't know. I've wanted to try to do that again because that was so fun to me. Not do Montevallo again, but to create something different and unique again. And that's hard to do, and that's what I've been trying to figure out how to do. So.
Do you feel pressure because that was so successful, and now we have Downtown's Dead?
Downtown's dead. Downtown's dead.
Yeah, I definitely feel that pressure. When I had those songs ready for Montevallo, I had such a certainty about putting those songs on the record and putting those out to the world, and that's what I wanted to say at that time. And since then, I just haven't had that confirmation and that conviction about anything that I've worked on so far. So
you're waiting for that.
Yeah, there's such an expectation because most artists put out records every couple of years, and I'm just not maybe as prolific a writer as some of these other artists, so I haven't been able to churn it out.
The 33-year-old.
I read an article just a while back saying that he wasn't going to do music for a while. He was going to kind of step back, but he came back with this album, Southside, with this song. To be clear, it is a pop album. They claim it as a country album, and I get it. The country artist, this and that, and really in his catalog, I find nothing that sounds even remotely close to country music, as most of the stuff I hear on the radio nowadays. I'll explain that now. A lot of Sam Hunt's music, not all of it, uses snap beats, which I'll put a video here to Mr. Grady Smith. He's going to explain to you everything about a snap beat and everything that's really awful about it. But I hate it. But the truth is, country music, just like all music, has to evolve sometimes. Can't stop that, but there are a few artists that are changing, sounding almost the way we think country is supposed to sound like, with fiddles and steels and showing the musical side to the genre as seen long ago with George Jones, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, and so forth. And also current artists like John Party, Chris Stapleton, and artists from the red dirt scene in Texas. And it goes back to Taylor Swift, where she was doing country, then she just decided, well, I'm a pop star, which I think is good for her in a way, because at the earlier songs, Tim McGraw, and they had some other hits that she had, that sounded more country-er than what she was doing when she released in the Red era. She said, well, I'm pop, now, so... I think that was a great move, and I think a lot of these artists that are playing today are pop artists just being claimed as country music, and I think that's taken away from the people that are doing country music, real country music. I know down here in Louisiana, Texas, Florida, I got a buddy, Chris Morrow, he's doing these country honky-tonk songs, living over there, and doing great, and they got a lot of them from Texas. Cody Johnson is on mainstream radio right now, but every year for the Houston Livestock and Rodeo, he's selling out the whole place in Texas, just kind of getting out there now and getting noticed. They have a lot of guys that are putting steels and putting fiddles, like John Party with Heartache Medication, California Sunrise, the album. She Ain't In It has a lot of fiddles and steels, and George Strait type of vibe, Foolhardy Memory type of thing. But I think where Sam Hunt is going is just to the pop. And I think if you would just say, look, I'm a pop artist, and just stick to that, I think he'd do a lot better. And also, I want to put a side note in here. I wanted to kind of talk about George Strait for a second. The album live at AT&T Stadium, Cowboys Stadium, is garbage. Not saying that George Strait is garbage, because I love George Strait, and every song he's ever came out with is one of my favorite artists. But I think the only reason I think that album is crappy because the use of AutoTune, which I'll put right here. It is auto-tune riddled, as if George Strait cannot sing. The worst track on the whole album is Love Bug, a duet with Vince Gill, and as we know, Vince Gill has this very high register voice, but when they put the auto-tune, it just sounds too perfect. Let it flow, and I've heard from multiple articles that how George Strait sings is he'll go out of key, come right back in, kind of like a twang thing, If they would have just left it raw, mixed it, sure, mix it, as you have to. Un-auto-tune riddled, and that's one thing I hated about it, and that I hate that they do it, and I don't think it's just on that album. I think it's also they have a song by George, Stars on the Water, which everybody should know. To me, they have parts in there that are auto-tuned too, and I understand when you're mixing and you're in, big Nashville, they're going to have to do some type of tweaking. But when you go that far into it, it sounds like garbage. And I think that's what I got to say just about that. But back to Sam Hunt, and I listened to this album through and out. I didn't find really one song that I really cared for, although I don't really care for none of Sam Hunt's songs. And nothing to him as an artist. It's just... I want to hear real country music with steels and fiddles. I don't want to hear sampled Webb Pierce songs, even though that's made a resurgence in Webb Pierce's music. And I did a search up on YouTube, hey, there stands the glass Webb Pierce. And then a lot of people commented saying, well, this would turn me on to Webb Pierce with the Sam Hunt song and so on and so forth, which if that's what it does, that's what it does. And maybe Webb Pierce would have liked it and maybe not. But I think I read an interview that said Webb Pierce Jr., which is his son, praised Sam Hunt for releasing this and kind of giving that resurgence. But I want to thank y'all for watching. The next stop, music review. And put down in the comments any other song that you may want reviewed, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. Thank y'all.